Welcome to New and In Between, hosted by me, Mia Quinn Maddox, where I'll be discussing the hows and whys to my journey towards my faith. I've learned through my highs and lows that this path is not mine to travel alone. Join me mid journey as I embrace my wins, losses, and everything in between. Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to New and In Between. I'm your host, Mia Quinn Maddox, and this is season 3, episode, I never know, 8, I think, 8 or 9. Either way, whatever episode it is, there's a lot of episodes. So if you haven't seen the episodes previous, check them out. But today I have a good friend of mine that I've known for a really long time, and we really had to have a conversation to figure out how we knew each other. So you will be part of that. But let me welcome my good friend, Fred.
Hey, what's
What's
up,
up,
Mia?
Fred?
How you doing? How you
I'm
doing?
good. I'm so good. Thank you for, first of all, you have come from, you are my furthest living guest. Okay, Central Jersey. So he
hmm
has traveled really far because we shoot in the city. So you've traveled really far. So I'm very appreciative of your time.
All good.
Saturday, he's real estate, so you know these are good. This is a good day, but I'm very appreciative
Oh, it's all good, man.
taking
It's
your
my
time.
pleasure. I'm thankful to be here. Thank you for inviting me. So proud of you. So excited to be here. Just really grateful. So thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome, and thank you. So you share with the world how we know each other.
You know, it's funny. We actually cultivated our relationship through social media, but I think we probably either met in three different ways. One, I think probably Olivia, formerly of G Unit.
Mm-hmm.
Probably that's probably one. Shout out to Liv. We also probably met through Gabrielle Corney.
Mm-hmm.
Gabrielle's shout out to Gabrielle. Gabby, what's
She
up?
was a guest here,
Yeah, yeah.
Gabby.
Shout out to
Mm-hmm.
Gabby. I miss you, Gab. Hope all is well. Or we probably met through one of my ex girlfriends, Sherelle Williams. She was probably you probably met her. She used to work with June Ambrose at the Mod Squad.
No,
So you
not
probably
not that one.
so it
Not that.
wasn't that.
No, because I when I was a stylist, I didn't befriend any other
Gotcha.
stylist, so I would remember that. But I do remember where we met and exactly where we met.
Really?
It's crazy how my memory works. We met at 50's house. He had a party. 50
Yes.
used to do these
Yes.
really elaborate parties in his house because he had a club in his house.
Yes.
And he did a party for the DJs.
Yep.
It was either for whatever the party was for. I don't remember
This is
that.
Connecticut, right?
Connecticut,
Yeah.
and it was we had full access to the house, and we were in his office. And
Okay.
it was me, you, Olivia. Shout out to Olivia, and
Shout
she
out.
got a new song. I'm so proud of
Yeah,
her.
new song, new album.
Yo,
Shout out to her.
I'm
All
happy that
platforms.
she took her time to
Yeah,
rest, and now she's back. So, check that out.
absolutely.
But it was me, you, Olivia, Free,
Yes,
and we
free.
were all just in there, and my sister.
I think I met your sister.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
and my
yes,
sister,
yes,
and we
yes.
were all in his office, and we were just chopping it up because the party had got, his party
Really,
went
you
crazy
remember
a
that?
while.
That is true.
Yeah,
That's
because
right.
I remember, like, you just got to give me a little bit, and then it popped up.
So
Yeah,
when I said Olivia, it's like it probably
yeah,
just clicked, right?
and that was like, damn, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, well, that
That
was
was
a
at least 20
long,
years ago.
yeah, that was a very long time ago. So many things have changed since then. Artists have gone to do their own individual
Wow, that
things
was
and
20
just,
years ago.
yeah, 20 years. Wow. That
Yep.
went quick.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then social media happened, and then you start following people, and then you forget how you met, but then we followed each other on Instagram,
Yep.
and then it's like you think you know each other, but you become Instagram friends because I believe that is a thing.
Agreed.
And then I was you have a real estate company. I saw that. I'm like, yo, I'm starting to think about
Yep.
buying a house,
Yep.
and then we reconnected again.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
that's how we cultivated our relationship and stayed in touch and
Yeah, I mean,
continued
I've
to do
tried
so.
a
Yeah.
few times to do this house buying thing, but it's difficult. So,
Yeah.
you started my process. You have started the process, and
And we're gonna end it too.
listen,
Yeah.
in due time, everything is in
Absolutely.
its own time. So,
Absolutely. 100%.
everything in its own time. So, as we talk about just that, you have a real estate company.
Yep.
So, let's share what your real estate company is, and I want you to just explain to people how important home ownership is right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, great segue. So, for me, I am the founder, managing director, and lead realtor at Tessier Property Group. We are based in New Jersey as well as Pennsylvania. We focus on residential and commercial real estate properties, whether you're looking to buy, whether you're looking to sell, whether you're looking to invest. rent, lease, whatever it may be. If it got a roof on it, I'm selling it, right? So that's particularly what I do. That's what I founded. But the importance of real estate right now is absolutely it should be the top of mind for everybody. There's a few things of why I think real estate is absolutely important right now. And I'm gonna break it down to you. The first one is financial investments, right? And I'll elaborate on each and every one of those. Financial investment is one, generational wealth, that's two, and then three, just education. Let's talk a little bit about financial investment. So, when you purchase a property, there are benefits to purchasing a property, right? You get equity. Equity, of course, is when you purchase a property and you hold that property for a specific amount of time, that property value appreciates in value, right? So, equity is absolutely important. You also have the opportunity to get tax benefits. So, when you purchase a home, there are tax benefits that you could connect with your CP and your entire accounting team that can help you understand what those benefits look like based on your financial situation. So, and then the next thing you get cash flow, right? So you can purchase a property and you could either rent it out as a short-term rental or you could rent it out as a long-term rental. Short-term rentals are usually like your Airbnbs, your pair spaces, things to that capacity.
Mhm.
Long-term rentals, of course, are leases with tenants,
Mhm.
right? And we see a lot of people doing that now, specifically to get additional income for themselves. So financial investments is a great way. It is also great also because if you're looking to like build and grow your credit, purchasing a home can help you increase that. So a lot of people don't realize when you purchase a home, you're paying that mortgage over time and you're helping that credit go up, right? So that's a big factor. In terms of generational wealth, which is the second category that I'm talking about, the reason why that's important is because if you look at the generations that come after us, a lot of them sometimes don't have a house to live in, right? So being able to, have a home that you can pass down to somebody is absolutely important. Many of us, and we were talking about this earlier, Mia, many of us come from Nana's house,
Mhm.
right? Where Nana had the house where all the cousins were there,
Mhm.
all the
I
sisters,
grew up in Nana's
yeah,
house. Yep.
all the sisters, all the brothers, everyone was there. So Nana, fostered a place for her cubs to be able to live. And the beautiful thing is,
And always come back
and
to.
always come back to. And it also helps inspire culture as
Mhm.
well. And a beautiful thing about that as well is when you pass a property down generationally, they get to also reap the benefits of the financial investments that I just talked about,
Mhm.
which is absolutely a circle that continues to repeat. And then the third piece of it that's important is education,
Mhm.
right? So it's always important to know that one of the benefits of owning real estate is just really educating yourself and learning a lot about what real estate does and what it does for you, right? So, for example, I know a lot of people that purchase homes and they learn a lot about what it's like to be a homeowner, right?
Mhm.
There's a lot of things that take place after you purchase a home. There's maintenance that takes place, right? There's understanding, the role of a landlord, what that looks like if you are a landlord, if you've purchased a multifamily property, or if you're doing any type of short-term rentals. And just overall, just understanding, the dynamics of just owning property overall. And the beautiful thing about it is it also opens opportunities for careers like myself, real estate wasn't something that I always wanted to get into.
Mhm.
And look at me now, one of the top realtors here in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, growing significantly,
What's
and
up?
really, really blessed, man.
We'll make
So,
sure we put all of the information, the credits, and the Instagrams and all that good stuff. So.
absolutely. So it opens opportunities to really learn about, different avenues of real estate. People think only all the time that when you're in real estate, you're either just going to be a realtor or an investor. But there's other areas as well, such as a builder, a developer. There's appraisers. There's transaction coordinators. There's stagers. There's people that focus on so many different areas of real estate, title companies. There's just so many different areas that I think it's a great opportunity to learn, and you get benefits from just owning that one piece of property.
Now I have a question. So, as far as generational worth and generational wealth, and it's when I say that, like you said, is in passing a house down. How important is it to put your kids' names on the deed?
Oh man, it's absolutely important because a lot of the time, here's what I've noticed, and a lot of the times when people pass away,
Hmm.
man, you would be surprised how much friction that causes within a family.
Hmm.
Because when someone passes away, everyone feels they have ownership to that property,
That is true.
and it creates chaos. It separates family. It creates bad blood. It's just a nightmare
It's
waiting to
great.
happen.
Yeah. Hmm.
So it's always important to get your affairs in order and having the right names on deeds, having trust accounts put together for certain family members, and just having your affairs in order so that when God forbid Nana passes away,
Mhm.
we all know, what's at stake, what's going to take place next, as opposed to doing the opposite and everyone's just fighting for Nana's home
Mhm.
because Nana's home is worth $4 million now.
Mhm.
So it's absolutely important to make sure that those affairs are absolutely on point.
Now, this is my other thing. If you put someone's name on the deed, does that help them in their purchasing down the line, or it's just a conversation that um, I've had with my mom,
Hmm.
because I think her generation has taken on the mindset of, I'm not putting your name on what I worked hard for. You got to work for your own. So we've beat her up enough about that. She's gonna. I mean, sorry, mom. I just have to bring it up because it's just something that we need to know. And if we're trying to change things of the past, then we need to know if it's a benefit or not, so that as now, when my sister goes to buy a house or when I go to buy a house, that I make sure that my nephews are on the deed if I don't have children yet, or
Yeah.
that my sister is, or just I want to make sure that we know the benefits so that we're doing the things that we don't know.
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of people sometimes, they ask that question. So I'll tell you what happens. So let's say if a person's name is on the deed of a home, right? And that person wants to buy a new home in the future. What's going to happen is the mortgage company is going to, of course, they're going to qualify that person to see if they can afford a home. They're going to do their background checks in terms of how much that person makes, what their credit looks like, if that person has any debt, all that kind of stuff. One thing about mortgage companies, they're going to know everything. They're going to look at everything in a different spectrum and understanding where you are in the purchase journey. So if they see that your name was on a deed on a property,
Mhm.
they're going to assume that you are paying the mortgage on that property.
Mhm.
And what happens is when they assume that's going to affect your qualification factor because now you're going to look like you're paying two different mortgages,
Mhm.
right? So it can affect you.
Mhm.
But the good news is that there's ways around that, right? So if you can show a mortgage company that yes, my name is on the deed of the property, but I have not been paying the mortgage,
Mhm.
that's going to be a great thing for you because it's not going to come across as a negative where you're going to have to show the bank that you're making much more money
Mhm.
because you have two different mortgages.
Mhm.
So it'll help you in the sense of as long as you're not paying the mortgage on that second home. In terms of everything else, I would say that it's a benefit because you get to have an appreciation asset, of course. But in terms of buying a new home, yeah, the mortgage company is more than likely going to assume that you have two different mortgages. So you got to find your way how to prove that you don't. And many of the times they'll ask you for like bank statements
Mhm.
or they'll ask for whoever else is paying the mortgage. They want to make sure that you weren't sending money to them. I
Mhm.
mean, these people, they really interrogate
Yeah,
you.
I
Like
mean,
they
it's a
go,
good thing to know,
yeah,
and also too, if you're putting your kids on they don't have any history.
yeah,
So by the time they go to buy your house, I
yeah,
mean, go to buy a house, I mean, they could show I was 2 years old or I was 3 years old, and
yeah.
it just.
Yeah, yeah. And from a credit perspective, the person's name might not be on the mortgage, so it won't help credit wise.
Mhm.
But in terms of being on the deed, at least that person knows they have an appreciation asset where later on, if they want to be able to sell it or move it around in a different way, they can do so. So it helps a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there we go. So, Mom, I could stop beating you up now. Okay, we could stop beating you up. We will. Lauren might occasionally, but it's just something that w- we could go on and on and on
Yeah,
about all
man.
the stuff that they learned and how they are and what they taught us, but
Yep.
it's not gonna ever change. It's not gonna change them.
A
So we
hundred
might as well
percent.
just change it.
A hundred
So
percent.
I'm glad for that question.
Yeah.
But as I ask you this question, I want to also ask you this. So we all know, like, I don't know if we could call this a recession, but we all know the money is funny right now,
Money is funny
right? The
for a
money
lot of
is
people.
funny
Yeah.
right now. Even those who make it. I mean, I thought I made decent money, and the money is
Yeah.
still funny right now. Um,
They do
but
say that like if you used to make 100 grand before, that's now like 50 grand.
salaries is definitely
Hundred
shifting.
percent.
I'm
Yeah.
definitely learning the
The new
salaries.
100 grand is 200 grand.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. So as things are changing, it just made me as learn how important partnership is.
Yeah.
And you are married,
Yes.
and I want to just talk about partnership. Like, how important is partnership for you? How important is marriage to you? What are
Yeah.
the benefits? What
Yeah.
has it benefited you in your life? I mean,
Absolutely. All great questions, man. And we could talk about partnerships in marriage. We could talk about partnerships in business and just relationships, right? So I'll first talk about my wife. Shout out to my beautiful wife, my amazing, loving, caring wife. She's probably gonna be watching this too.
I hope so.
Yeah, she
I'm,
she
I will. We're
she's a
gonna
big
get
fan of
into
yours
because she has
too.
a really good story too,
Yeah,
and she's an amazing makeup artist.
she is. She's amazing.
Like,
So, partnership for us is absolutely important because when I look at just my life as a realtor and running this real estate enterprise, it gets tough, right? There's a lot of things that take place behind the scenes, right? Being a parent, and also being a parent to a child that's on the autism spectrum, right? We have to partner together in a lot of different capacities, whether it be neurological appointments, whether it be therapy sessions, speech sessions, all different types of things from a parenting perspective. And then also from a marriage perspective, my wife is my best friend. That's who I tell everything to. That's who I get to vent to. That's who I explore opportunities to. So we partner on so many different perspectives of just that as a whole. And then also from a fellowship perspective, we partner in fellowship, right? So there's a lot of things that I wouldn't be the man that I am today if I didn't have my wife side by side with me, because you can't do this whole thing by yourself. You got to have somebody that's going to hold you responsible, hold you accountable, who's going to motivate you, who's going to encourage you. And all of those things are my wife. And I appreciate her for that because, again, I wouldn't be this top selling real estate agent in New Jersey if it wasn't for, her being by my side and partnering with me every day in life, right? From a business perspective, partnership is absolutely important because even if you look at, like, for example, all of my clients that I represent, one of the reasons why they love working with me as their realtor is I have a lot of different resources. I'm able to work with so many different people in real estate, whether it be title companies, construction workers, GCs, appraisers, inspection companies, mortgage companies, lawyers. I partner with so many different people to be able to effectively provide a service to my clients.
mhm.
And if I didn't have those partnerships, I wouldn't be able to perform at that high level because the people that I partner with are at a very high level. Like, these are people that I just didn't meet one day and just said, hey, we should try this. These are people that I've vetted out over the last couple of years that I've created, you know, partnerships with, like on paper, legal documents that I trust to get us to the closing table. That's going to go above and beyond for my clients. That's going to really push the needle forward to help my clients meet their dreams. So, partnerships in business is absolutely essential for me. And then overall relationships, right? Like, if you look at even just me and you, right? Like, if I didn't have a relationship with you, I wouldn't be able to be here on this amazing, super incredible podcast, right?
Right?
Right? So relationships is absolutely important. And I'm pretty sure every one of the guests that you had on this show felt the same way, where the relationship with you is what brought them here, and it opens a wide spectrum to do so much more networking, because at the end of the day, as they say, your network is your net worth,
Yeah.
right? So those are the things that are important for me, as I could say, in partnership.
Yeah. And this is what I'm learning because for me, I was raised to be independent.
Hmm.
Do everything on your own. Do
Yeah.
everything on your own. So, it worked. It did work for a time, but as things are changing, the economy is changing, the world is changing.
Yeah.
Partnership is a lot more. I mean, and then for me, I mean, yes, I would love to have a husband, but is it just in partnering like with my sister
Yeah.
and partnering with the people that I work with, and like it doesn't always have to be, even if it's not mine. Being on a team is still a
100%.
partnership.
100%.
And just trying to take on that mindset of like, all right, I can do it all on my own, but that's not smart.
It's not. And then you're gonna burn yourself out. You're gonna drive yourself, crazy, because at the end of the day, and the outsource, the final product is not gonna be good,
Mhm.
because you're carrying this big load and you're trying to accomplish everything, whether it be for whatever reason, by yourself. You're not gonna. It's not gonna be right. It's gonna fail. You know what I mean? So you gotta have the right people, the right partners involved with whatever you're doing. And it's not just business. That's just in life, right? If you look at, for example, just even in church fellowship, right? You're partnering with someone to pray, to fellowship, to engage in worship, and to do all these great things. You're partnering with somebody spiritually to engage in that type of capacity. So partnership, and it just goes in a different amount of spectrums,
Yeah, no, I just like to ask people who are married because
Hmm.
we are in this. I don't even know what our culture is
Yeah.
that now it's like just. I mean, I don't even know.
Yeah,
So
man.
when I do meet people who are married and who are happily married and who ain't worried about giving her half,
Right, right.
I'm
People
like, half
really,
of what? You don't have nothing. What are
yeah,
you talking about? You got everything with her. Even if you didn't, so what? Like,
yeah,
that's another story for
yeah,
another day. But I do like to, speak to my friends who are married,
yeah.
and it's not what you think.
Yeah, man. Marriage is a beautiful thing, man. I think marriage has really changed me for the better. I've learned patience. I've learned how to, like you said, not just take everything by myself and just run with it, and just really just partner with someone that really loves and cares and appreciates you and values you, and also have a different perspective. Like you're not always gonna be on the same page in marriage. You're not gonna always agree, but the beautiful thing is that you get to learn different perspectives in it. You know what I mean? Which is
Mhm.
really great.
Ways to deal with things. And
Absolutely.
I'm sure a lot of what you learn through your marriage is what you practice with your other relationships.
Yeah, 100%. Loyalty, morals, the specific codes that it just doesn't go away. You know?
Yeah, no, that's dope. And your
Yeah.
wife is super dope. Like
Thank you.
she's in my industry too. And I can't wait to get her here when I do all my industry. I'm gonna do a lot of my industry friends because that's a whole nother
That
bucket
would be
that we
dope.
have to open about, just how we treat each other and
Yeah.
how, the stuff that goes not what goes on
Hmm.
like for gossip, but like, you know,
Just behind the scenes of what
yeah,
really takes
because it's
place.
really a village
Man,
behind the scenes.
she tells me so many things when she comes home about like just that world.
I see it on her page. I love to follow people who are new into the industry
Yeah.
because you get to see the excitement.
Yeah.
The excitement of like working with your favorite actor or
Hmm.
on a show that you watched,
Yeah.
or just getting to be able to do your craft.
Yep.
Like,
100%.
listen, I get it. So I love to follow people. Like, I love following her because she's so excited. And I'm like,
She
man, I hope
is.
she never loses that.
She doesn't. Yeah, people say that all the time. Even when she goes on set, she comes home and she's like, "Yo, people sometimes are just surprised that I'm just so happy." Most people are usually not as happy as she would think.
Yeah, you lose your gratefulness after you work 100 hours a
100 hours a week.
but it is
That's
what
true.
it is.
Yeah.
It is definitely what it is.
Hmm.
So let me just ask you this, right? If you could do one thing and not fail,
Hmm.
like absolutely not fail, what would it be?
Yo, that's a crazy question because honestly, I wouldn't even want to have that superpower because for me, I became the person that I am today because of all of the failures that I've had, right? All of the blessings, all of the opportunities, whether it be financially, whether it be spiritually, whether it be relationally, a lot of that came from falling flat on my face, egg on my face, and just things not always working out. So that's the first thing. The second thing is if I couldn't fail, I wouldn't. And it sounds very cliche, but I wouldn't have met Jesus, right? Because
Hmm.
for me, it was his grace that saved me, that brought me to where I am today. He was carrying me even in my confusion, even in those days where I wasn't living for him. So not being able to fail is like, damn, I wouldn't have met the savior. I wouldn't have met the king,
I mean, that's a good way to put it because that's the
but
same thing for me. If I didn't make all the mistakes and
man,
go through all the things,
yeah,
I wouldn't have been on my face like, okay, you can have it now. You can have it back now.
yeah,
You can
yeah.
have the plan back now because what
Uh-huh.
I want to do is not working.
Yeah, 100%. And I always say this, rock bottom is an absolutely beautiful place to be. Some people might be scared for it because you could really go into some chaotic times in rock bottom,
Mhm.
but yo, I feel like rock bottom is a great place for people to learn who they are, learn the tenacity and strength that they have, and also learn about faith. There's a lot of people that they don't believe in faith. They don't really believe in some of the things that I believe in, and not to make this a biblical situation, but every knee will bow one day, and at the end of the day, I don't know when that time is going to be for certain people, but rock bottom is a great place to learn about that every knee shall bow.
Listen,
you
listen.
know?
And it's funny even too with people who don't believe but say things like don't believe and say but say I've had someone's shoulder. I felt like I've always had someone's shoulder. No, these are like
Yeah,
my
yeah.
people I've
I
met
heard
here,
that.
and I know I have favor on my life because of all the things that I've been through.
Yeah.
Someone said they know that they have something great has to come because all the favor that they've had over their life in the situations that they have, which we would look at as like, oh my God, that's terrible.
Right. Some people don't even realize that the reason that they were being carried that long is somebody was praying for them. Somebody was out there, whether it be a grandmother, a mother, a friend, was really invested in heavy prayers for them to be able to sustain and be here this long.
Thank God for
I,
those
I get I
grandmothers.
get like real emotional when I think about those times because life. You and I actually grew up in the same area. I think I grew up in East Flatbush, Brooklyn, Church Ave, and Troy.
And it's funny because I grew up on 45th and Snyder in the dead
I was
end,
on Church and
which
Troy.
is around the corner, and we did not know each
Yeah,
other from.
yeah.
And we're about the same age.
44.
And I'm same thing, 44.
Okay,
I went to PS 135
okay.
for a short little stint. And then my mother was like, oh no, these kids not being in public school. My
Yeah.
sister was starting getting too crazy. Then we went to St. Francis Xavier in Park Slope.
Okay.
Then I went to John Dewey.
You went to John Dewey. I went
Hmm.
to South Shore.
Yeah, so it's like we live literally. So anyone who knows Brooklyn or knows Flatbush, it's like literally we live 3 blocks
Seriously.
away from each other because you lived on Church and Troy and I was
Yeah.
on 45th. Yeah,
Same block as Buster Rhymes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I bring that up because like we come from a neighborhood where it was a lot of gang affiliation, crime, murder, theft, robbery, prostitution. I mean, it was a cocktail for a disaster. And a lot of the times we grew up in these places thinking that it was normal. And
I did because as you
I
said that,
did.
I'm like, all of that was going on, and I
Yo,
was
you think it was
outside.
normal. Yeah, agreed. And you don't realize it until you get older like, yo, I was in a really bad environment. Like we took a lot of risks growing up. And if it wasn't for God's grace just carrying us throughout every one of those situations, man, it's a blessing to even be
So
here, yo.
if you've been to a block party in East Flatbush, you know
Man.
they ended with
Pop,
with
pop,
a
pop, pop,
shooting.
pop.
Okay, so if you escaped that, like and
Yeah.
how many times we went back?
Man, all the time.
That's how it ended. That's how you knew the block party was over.
Yeah. It's so true. It's just
I was even talking to my friends who are not from the city. How I'm like, no, I've been riding a train since I was in the fourth grade.
that's a fact.
And they're like, what? And I'm like, getting in random dollar cabs
Yeah.
from church in Nordstrom, Nord,
Crazy.
Nord, Nostrin,
Yeah.
Nostrin,
No shit.
Nordstrom,
No shit.
No, that street.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
crazy. Like, but it was a different time.
Agreed. And I got a funny story for you too. I didn't realize it wasn't normal until I got older.
Mm.
Like when I was in prior to real estate and prior to running my marketing agency before real estate, I was in corporate America, and it wasn't until I was like in a lunchroom or cafeteria with a lot of other executives, and they would always talk about their experiences in high school and things like that. And this was like early, like 1999, 2000 timeframe. And I would always listen to their stories and then hear, damn, like I did not grow up like that. Like my high school, we had metal detectors.
Oh
We
yeah,
had
you went to South
I went to
Shore.
South Shore High School. There was a lot of killers, in South Shore. There was a lot of, Brooklyn back in that time was it was real.
Yeah.
So, growing up, I thought it was normal that we would have, metal detectors in school, parent teacher night, my mom getting patted down. Like I thought that was normal. And it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't until I got older that I realized, yo, this was an abnormal situation. We were living in a place where there's no way you could dream over here. This is all we saw,
Yeah.
and it wasn't until I got out, Flatbush, that my palette started to change, and I started to see the world in a different perspective, and it really really changed my life. And a lot of the times people always say, well, people in the hood, they just don't understand. It's not their fault. They don't know. They can't
Yeah.
see and escape.
No, I'm thankful. My mom she was the one who exposed us. Like she took us to Broadway plays.
Yeah.
She made sure we went to museums. Like
Hmm.
even though we didn't want to, kicking and screaming, but
Yeah.
she exposed us to things so that when we got older and it wasn't like
Hmm.
I'm not ever going to Broadway or
Yeah.
go. I mean, I'm not a Broadway girl at all. My mother has. I think she kind of got that out of me, the
Hmm.
Broadway part, because
Hmm.
that's all she wanted to do was take us to those long shows.
Yeah.
But it exposed me. Then 50 exposed me to the world on another
In
level.
another
So
level. Yeah.
exposure is it, and I mean, but if you're not going anywhere, I know people who never left Queens
That's crazy.
and have no desire of like, or never left Harlem. Harlem? How you never leave Harlem? That's not its
That's
own. People
right.
think Harlem is its own borough, but if you think about it, it's people who've never left Harlem.
That is true. Brooklyn as well. Brooklyn, Bronx, the same. So let me ask you this: so when you were exposed to Broadway at a young age, did you ever like as you got older and being so successful in styling, did you do Broadway shows for styling?
No, I've never,
Oh
never.
wow,
No, it's a whole nother. I've learned that Broadway is a whole nother
really?
world like a whole nother lingo, whole nother, yeah, it's a whole nother
Wow.
world Broadway. I've never done, never,
A
never,
desire to?
no,
Okay.
not at all. I
Okay.
have no desire to do Broadway. It's a totally different beast. Not to say that I'm not limiting God. If God would
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
"Hey, you going to do Broadway,"
Absolutely.
I'm going to do Broadway.
Absolutely.
But for the most part, it's not something that I have on my list of like, oh, I want to go try
Yeah.
Broadway. But just in exposing my mom exposing us to that type of entertainment. Me
Mm-hmm.
and my sister are both in the entertainment industry.
All right.
You don't know what the exposure leads to or
Yeah.
what it opens up, what portal, or you don't know. Like
Yeah.
we lived around the corner from each other
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we didn't even know that. We didn't know each other
We
and
didn't know
now
each
we
other.
know each other, like
That's
met each
that's
other
just
and
crazy.
then again, yeah.
Nuts. That's
Literally around
nuts,
the corner
man.
from each other.
That is absolutely
Yeah.
nuts, man. But that's how it works sometimes, you know?
Good old Brooklyn. That's changed so much.
Do you go back often?
No, my grandmother's house they sold.
Okay.
You know, it I don't think my family. I mean, not that I don't know what it was. Who
Mm.
knows? But they sold that
They
house.
sold the house.
So no, I don't really have any reason to go back. And if I do go back, I mean, I used to get my hair done because
In
that's
Brooklyn,
where
yeah.
you get the best
That's
weaves
where you
in
get the
Brooklyn.
best. Yeah.
Okay,
Barbershops too, man.
listen, but no, I don't go back. I do go back when I'm if we're working in
Yeah.
an area, but no, I don't have any reason to go back.
It looks
And when I
totally
do go
different.
back, it's people will be like, and this is you didn't see white folks
Man.
in East
Talk
Flatbush.
about it.
You did not see white people
Talk
pass
about it. Yeah.
Eastern Parkway.
Mm-hmm.
So where the museum is,
Yeah.
that long block was like the you decided. You know that's where you
Yeah.
went. You went
Yeah.
either that way to
Okay.
Cobble Hill and Park
100%.
Slope, or you went this way
Yep.
to Crown Heights. And but I don't remember the only white people I remember seeing in Flatbush was Jews
Jews, yeah.
or a
Crown.
cop.
Yeah. Crown Heights, you know.
Cops. That's
Yeah.
it. You
Eastern
didn't really
Parkway.
see. And I mean, I'm sure they lived, but
Yeah.
not in the areas where I would like, not in East Flatbush,
Oh
not
yeah.
in the 30s, not in the 40s, not
Yeah.
that I saw.
They're jogging now. They're doing groceries, walking free. Like it's crazy to watch because we grew up in that area and it was never that.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like I've been to Brooklyn recently, just everything. Downtown Brooklyn looks like Manhattan. You know, all the stores. I went to LIU, so
Hmm.
I was LIU. Shout out to anybody that went to LIU, downtown Brooklyn. So just that area alone, I feel like once the stadium got there,
Hmm.
everything shifted.
Yeah.
Everything. And it's just the new Brooklyn, you know?
Listen, sometimes for me, I used to be a person who fought change, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, but I said something to someone. I met a friend, and I'm like, hey, how is it going? He's like, same old, nothing changed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nothing changed.
Nothing changed.
And he's like, I said, the weather changes, the time changes, life changes,
Yeah,
your body
absolutely.
changes. I'm like, you don't have nothing. But as I'm saying that to him, I'm saying to myself, like, I used to be a person who fought change,
Yeah.
like tooth and nail. You get into, I'm a pattern follower. I'll do things in a
Yeah.
certain kind of way. I get comfortable with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I master that. I'm okay.
Uh-huh.
And that's not really like that's not how it goes.
Right,
Change
right.
happens quickly, and if you're not used to change, then when change happens,
Mm-hmm.
you get stuck
100%.
or you don't know how to pivot or you can't, it's like even with these phones. I keep saying I'm not getting no new phone,
Mm-hmm.
but the new phone has a new technology. The new technology is the way of the world. I don't want to be the person having to ask my nephew how you do this, how you do this. No, I mean, it's like you have to evolve with the time across the
Agreed.
board with
Agreed.
everything.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because even when I got into real estate, like I mentioned to you earlier, I wasn't planning to be a realtor. I wasn't planning to run this real estate enterprise. I was actually, for the past 20 years, running a marketing agency,
Mhm.
right? Marketing, management, and creative services. And some of my clients included, very big clients, Google, MetLife, MasterCard, BMW, like a lot of great names, right? And it wasn't until I started seeing things change in the industry, right? Where AI started to come in.
Mhm.
I started seeing a lot of service platforms like Canva and Fiverr, different communities with all of these people coming in and doing marketing at a very low price.
Mhm.
And I kind of saw the writing on the wall like right before the pandemic.
Mhm.
I was like, yo, there is no reason for someone to really hire a marketing agency today.
Mhm.
Because if you're looking to launch a product, a service, or a brand, you really have all the tools in front of you to do that effectively without having to pay a marketing agency, a retainer, to do branding, to do strategy, to do go to market launches and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And I was talking to my wife one day and I was like, yo, babe, yo, I think the writing is on the wall for me in this marketing agency world. And she was like, really? And I started telling her a little bit about what I'm telling you now with
Mhm.
just the way technology is moving at the speed of culture is going so fast that if you are not ready to pivot and change into a different direction, you're going to fail.
Mhm.
So for me, I've done successful in marketing. So one day I told her, I said, you know what? I think I need to get into real estate. Real estate might be the next thing that I want to use everything that I've learned in corporate America and marketing and really blow this thing out. So before I launched Tessier Property Group, my enterprise, I spent 2.5 years prior putting together a full go-to-market strategy, full business plan, full marketing plan, and when would be the right time to launch. And I launched it during the pandemic,
Mhm.
right? And I remember speaking to my wife. She was like, babe, there's no way, like you're really thinking about this. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, all right, go for it. I know you're gonna do a great job. And I told her, I said, listen, if I could just sell 2 houses for the year, I'll be fine.
Mhm.
I'm like, there's no way people are buying houses. It's a pandemic. The world is going through inflation. A lot of stuff is just crazy. But I need to pivot extremely fast, and I need to find something that I'm gonna be able to retire in moving forward.
Mhm.
And lo and behold, man, I use everything that I learned in marketing and here I am doing 3, 4 closings a month
Oh, I
consistently.
see. That's
Yeah,
dope.
consistently, easily. And it just goes back to what you say about pivoting. You just got to know a real entrepreneur knows when to pivot. You got to know when to be able to move the needle in a different direction because at the end of the day, it's going to happen regardless whether you want it to happen or not. Change is going to come. And I see a lot of people still struggling, even with the AI situation, right?
Mhm.
And they're not finding ways to pivot into a different landscape. And you don't necessarily have to pivot into a different industry, but sometimes if you can't join them, you got to. If you can't beat them, you got to join them,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, and also too, it's like you did corporate, you did marketing,
Yeah,
and you use all of those things that you learned to
yeah. To
do what
be
you're
in the real
doing.
estate, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sit here now on a podcast. I was a stylist.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about it in the way of like I'm dressing someone, but you know how many cameras I've been behind the scenes,
Yeah,
how many
yeah,
talk shows, how many
yeah,
daytime television, how many interviews I've
yeah.
watched over and over and over and over and over and over the years, that not
Mm-hmm.
even realizing that was giving me
Mm-hmm.
experience in just viewing.
Yeah.
And then just now I'm working in film and television. It's just so
Mm-hmm.
many things you don't realize, that it's all, what does it say, all works together for
Yeah.
our good
All
if
things
we
come
let it,
together for
right?
yeah, for the good enough to God.
So
Yeah.
what church you go to?
I used to go to a church called Epic Church. It was in Sayreville, New Jersey. We were there for like about the last 6 years. And I'm now at Change Church in Ewing, New Jersey, an amazing church. Pastor Darius
Shout out to
Daniels, Pastor
him.
Shamika
I
Daniels, Pastor
love
Will, the entire Ewing family. They have been absolutely amazing to me and my family. When we were at Epic Church, we loved Epic Church, don't get me wrong, but we just were feeling like we weren't getting as fed as much as we used to because there were a lot of changes happening in that changes. There were a lot of changes happening in that particular church,
hmm
and I remember telling my wife like, "Yo, babe, I don't know if it's me, but I'm not feeling like I'm getting fed the way that I need to be fed." And we were just praying and fasting about it, and God was just telling us, "Listen." You need to be at a place where not only are you getting fed, but I need you to have more fellowship. You need to have a community of believers that you're pouring into and pouring back into you. And a friend of mine that also goes to Epic Church, I said to her, I'm like, yo, her name is Leah. I said, Leah, do you feel like this? Like, is it just me? Like, and she's like, nah, I do feel the same way. She was like, I'm surprised you don't go to Change Church. I'm like, Change Church? What is Change Church? Where is Change Church?
hmm
She was like, it's crazy. It's actually by your house. I'm like, by my house? No one lives by my house. We live in so far in Jersey, right? So I said, all right, I'm gonna check this out. So I Googled it and I saw that it was literally 23 minutes away from my house,
Look at that.
not planned at all.
hmm
So I said, without doing any research on the church, we just went one day,
hmm
and we went one day, and we were just blown away at how the worship experience was amazing, the praise experience was amazing, and the word was just, oh my God, I never seen anything like this.
hmm
I come from prior to moving to New Jersey, I was going to CCC with Pastor A.R. Bernard,
Yeah, my mother
so
used to go
I
there.
know that level of in depth preaching, right?
Teaching.
That
I feel
teaching,
like
like
they're
people will be in
teaching.
laptops in church,
Yeah,
like
they're
lit taking
teaching.
notes.
hmm
So I haven't found that since I got to New Jersey. So when I saw that level of preaching at change, I was like, yo, this is a little different. I like this. And I also liked the fact that it was super young crowd,
Hmm.
people that were just so energetic, so just excited about what God was doing in their lives. And on the first day that we went there, people in our role that we were speaking to, they were just so inviting. They were just talking to us, and we were seeing us ourselves building in fellowship at that particular moment. I'm like, this is our first day, and we talking to these people. We're going through passages together literally during service. And I'm like, yeah, this is what we need
Hmm.
because this is the kind of community where I feel like God was leading us to. And God was just telling us, like, I want you guys to be more in fellowship and not just be in fellowship within your own little circle, but really go out and make fish, and pour into people and have people pour into you. So, Pastor Darius and Pastor Shamika have done an amazing job with their entire church. And I'm just so excited to be there, man.
Yeah, I watch online
Mm-hmm.
from Atlanta,
Okay.
and I watched a few churches, but that's my first one. I wake up, I don't play no
Really?
games. I watch that and I
Yeah.
watch Mike Todd
Mike Tyson.
Transformation Church.
Okay.
Those are my two, and then there's some others that I might catch if I'm home or whatever the case. But those are the two that I watch. Like I need
Really?
those for, and then I listen to them again during the week.
Mm-hmm.
But Pastor Darius, he
Man.
feeds you until you are full,
Yeah, absolutely. What I
like full,
a
like
hundred
full,
percent.
full, like full, and then you like, ooh, let me let this digest so I can go get some more. I'll watch it again.
Yeah, yeah.
Changed my perspective on a lot of things, and I mean, like a lot
Mm-hmm.
of things.
His perspective is always what I loved about him because he talks about the word and he mixes it up with day to day life, whether it be leadership, whether it be marriage, whether it be coaching, mentorship, whether it be scripture, whether it be whatever aspect.
Mhm.
He dibbles in every single aspect. And there's certain things that he says in his messaging that I'm like, yo, he's very well experienced with life because there's certain things that he talks about that I never talk to people about. And then he talks about it. I'm like, how did you know? Like it just worked out so
Mhm.
perfect, and I just love the way he just articulates the entire movement of his message, and it's just a beautiful thing to watch. So just being there, man, I'm just like a sponge, just learning, absorbing, and the entire choir there, the entire worship team killing it. Shout out to Kim, shout out to the entire team over there.
Yeah, I've never been to the physical church in New Jersey
Yeah,
because it is deep. Like
it's
you're
deep.
deep,
I'm deep.
and it's
I'm
deep.
in Hunterdon County,
Yeah,
right?
it's like a hour and a half for me. I'm gonna take the drive one day. I drive an hour and a half to work sometimes, so
If you
why
do,
not?
let me know. We would love to worship with you, man. I promise you, it is worth the full hour and a half that you're gonna take the drive. It'll really change your experience on a lot of things, but just being in the audience and just feeling the worship and just being amongst a lot of other believers,
Hmm.
it's gonna pour into you in a way that you've never experienced before. Yo. It's like for real.
Yeah, I have a girlfriend who always invites me to
Really?
her church, which is funny because it's called Transformation Church, like the one that I watch all the time.
With Mike Todd.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
watch one with Mike Todd, but her church is called that, and she lives in Middletown, and I go out there sometimes. Well, I've been out there once, and she's always inviting me back, 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 back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? Because it is important. I
Yeah.
I watch from my house, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
faithful in my house.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a different thing to have to wake up,
Yeah.
get dressed, go somewhere. It's
Mm-hmm.
a little more dedication. Me, I just get up and go into the living room.
Which is also
No,
great.
it is because I don't
Yeah.
miss it. It's something that I've become dependent on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what time brunch is. I won't be there.
Right.
My sister knows I'm not picking up my phone
Right.
until after church.
Right.
Certain things I will miss, like for my nephew's not football games, baseball games. Certain things because I don't ever want to be that person where people think like, oh, she can't do something because of church.
Yeah.
Like that's not
Yeah,
like
yeah, I know what you mean. At the
yeah,
end of the day, you got,
yeah, but
yeah, I
it's what
get
I
you.
need. It gives me the answers to what I went through that previous week, or it helps me get through the next week,
Yeah,
or things. It's like whatever the Pastor Darius talks about. I'm like, okay, all right,
yeah,
okay.
right.
You can't get your lick back.
There's stuff that he
The
says, I'm like, wow.
upgrade.
Yeah,
I'm too smart for that.
yeah, yeah.
It's so
That was a
simple.
great series
What?
too, man. That entire series
Another
was
one
just,
starts tomorrow. I can't wait.
yeah, I'm looking forward to that as
Yeah, I
well,
can't
man.
wait. I
So
can't wait.
that's dope. Yeah, but let me know when you go, man. We would love to join you, man. That is an experience that you would not want to miss.
Yeah, no, I'm like letting the drive to cheer me, but I'm like, girl, you drive to work every day in traffic. You drive to wherever you want to go.
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
up and go.
You'll love it.
Yeah,
You'll love it.
but that's cool. So before we close out, I
Mhm.
just want you to let everyone know your real estate company, the Instagram where they can find you, and all the things what you got coming up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's just share with all the things.
Absolutely. So you can catch me at tessierproperties.com. So that's Tessier properties.com. That's my website. It goes through all the facets of the enterprise, what we have going on. Instagram is at Tessier Property Group, which you can also check out as well. You can also check me out on a TV show called First Time Buyer on Hulu, season 2, episode 3. I was recognized by the National Association of Realtors
That's
as one
what's
of the
up.
top realtors in New Jersey. So check me out on there as well. I'm always doing open houses. I'm always showing new properties. Give me a call if you're looking to buy, sell, invest, rent, whatever it may be. I'm your guy, Fred Tessier.
I'll make sure that all of the Instagrams and the page, it'll probably pop up somewhere down here or wherever it is going to be.
Yeah,
But we'll make sure it's all listed. But before we close out, I want to ask you one last question,
yeah,
right? In having this real estate enterprise and you having people come to you to sell or to buy or whatever the case may be, what is it that you need from people? Like a level of professionalism or patience, or
yeah,
it's something that I like to ask because we don't really say what we need,
yeah,
and then I don't know what to do, or I don't know that when you send me an email I need to answer timely, or
yeah.
just what do you tell us what you need.
It's funny because I always say one of the hardest parts about my job is to have to rely on other people to do their job,
Hmm.
and that's not necessarily just people that are in the business, but that also accounts for clients as well.
Hmm.
A lot of the times, people are saying, "Hey, I want a realtor that's efficient, that's going to be responding quickly, that's going to be able to be available, and all these great things," which we do that. But then it's always tough to find clients who are the total opposite. There are clients where I have to chase, right? I have to keep calling, I have to keep texting, I have to keep asking questions because they're either busy or they don't have the time to call me back. So that's important to like be able to be available, especially when your realtor wants to be able to help you in every capacity that you're looking to either buy or sell a house or rent or whatever it may be. So just being available and being attentive to the time is absolutely important. Also, when it's time to show properties, there are buyers that sometimes come an hour late.
Hmm.
You know, can
Yeah.
yeah, you would be surprised. I mean, you're dealing with the general public, so you're dealing with the spectrum of all types of people. There are clients where they'll come an hour late like it's nothing.
So be
They
on
they
time.
don't value your time.
Be on time. Value your own time.
Yeah,
I'm working on that myself. I'm not someone who's usually late because the industry that I work in, you cannot be late.
yeah,
But my time management is something that I am trying to work on. Value your time. Value his time. Like
yeah,
time is money.
absolutely. Value my time
So be
because
on time.
be on time for sure. Be able to be responsive,
Hmm.
right? So if you see I'm calling, call back. I'm not calling to talk about the Knicks or the Giants. Like I'm really calling to
Shoot me
help you.
a quick question or
Right. It's a quick question.
information.
You shoot
Hmm.
me a text. Let me know what's possible. And also be truthful, be honest. You don't have to lie because we are going to find out. There are people
Mm.
that will tell you, yeah, I make $400,000. I do this, I do that. But when it's time to go through the entire process, we see it's the total opposite.
Mm.
You don't have to fake the funk for me. I'm here to help you. Let's build a plan to help you get to where you need to. So just be truthful because at the end of the day, the bank is going to find out everything they need to find out. You can't hide nothing from these people.
Listen, right?
This is
They
100%
turning over
facts.
every pillow, every piece
It
of
is an
paper.
interrogation process.
Yeah.
When I bought my house, I felt the same way. No one is
Well,
exempt.
shout out to that because you have a beautiful home.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, we bought our first mansion home 2 years ago.
Say that
Um,
again, please. Say that again. Like we
we,
don't be bigging ourselves up as much as like he's 44. He bought his first mansion home, and
yeah,
I like for us to say things like that because it's
absolutely.
possible.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was a blessing from God. We bought our first mansion 2 years ago, 6,199 square feet
Mm.
to be exact. 2-story foyer, cathedral ceilings. I mean, the list goes on and on. God has blessed us significantly with that, but we did pour into that. There's a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication on both of our sides, myself and my wife. But yeah, that's absolutely
Partner,
important. Partnering.
himself and his
Yeah,
wife.
absolutely. Like I'm a big advocate of that. Like partner with your wife, your spouse, your husband, whatever, and really make something out of that. Like my love language is quality time. My wife's love language is words of affirmation.
Okay.
and we talk about this all the time, and we partner in those areas as well,
Hmm.
right? To pour into each other in those areas. But partnership, again, not to be repetitive,
Hmm.
that's absolutely important. So yeah,
Yeah. So listen, if you're gonna reach out to him, just make sure that you are, respect people's time in
yeah,
business. Realtors is not like it's not it's a different type of industry, but there's still rules and things, and we still have to respect people's time
yeah,
and answer the
yeah.
email and respond. This is for you too. It's not
Yeah,
just.
because the average realtor sells about 4 homes a year, right? Like I said to you earlier, I do about 4 a month. So I'm always constantly juggling so many different clients,
Mhm.
12, 15 clients at one time. So if you show up late, an hour late, I got other showings right after you. So that means that new home, that new client that I'm going to work with,
Mhm.
I'm going to be late to them,
Mm.
right? So things like that affect the entire ecosystem and the process of what I got going on. So being on time is absolutely important. And again, just valuing your realtor's time, pretending it was you, you wouldn't want it to happen to you. So value time
Yeah, and tell the truth because
and
they're
tell
gonna
the
find
truth.
out
They're
anyways.
gonna find out. You're
You don't
not
gotta
hiding nothing
front.
from
Yeah,
nobody.
you don't gotta
You don't
front. Be
gotta
a
front.
realtor.
Yeah, you don't have to front for me. I don't care.
They can put that social in
Yeah,
every time you swipe that
everything.
debit card. They show it.
Yeah,
Why do you Starbucks
yeah.
16 times in a
They
month?
see it.
No, they do because they have to
Everything.
see your. Also, too, that's another. As you started getting me prepared.
Hmm.
Um, watch you told me to watch my spending,
Yeah,
like watch my spending, and it made me more aware of like
yeah.
when I started
Everything
looking
is a red
through,
flag.
I'm like 26 times in Starbucks.
Yeah.
It's not even the end of the month. I was like, oh, that gotta go.
Yeah, yeah.
Because those are the things. They're like, oh, you'll waste $500 a month
Yeah,
on Starbucks.
they see it. They see it. And there's also people that, and this is a good jewel that I'm gonna share as well.
Hmm.
There are people that have extremely great credit. They make great money,
Hmm.
but they have a lot of debt. Right? They have car payments. They have a lot of credit cards. There's a lot of things that can affect you from purchasing a property as well.
Hmm.
So just because you got great credit and you got all this income coming in, if you got a lot of debt, that's going to be a big part as a negative on your when it's time to pre-qualify you for a mortgage.
Hmm.
So very important. If you're looking to buy a home, yes, have great credit, have all those great things, but eliminate that debt because the debt to income ratio is going to be satanic for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I learned that not the hard way, but it's just in my process of like, okay, what is it that I need to do? Because we had that
Yeah.
conversation before anything. Like, I want to. It's something that I wanted to do. Now, what do I need to do?
Yeah.
It took me a good year to like prepare to even start the pre-approval because it was like, all right, let me
Yeah.
get all these things in.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's like let me
and,
get
and
all
your
these things in a
situation is
row.
different because you got to remember, like you are an independent contractor. You run your own business,
Mm.
right? There are a lot of people who are not like that. They work on a corporate job or a regular job where they're getting a W-2, right? A simple W-2 form that shows their income, their taxes, all that kind of stuff. Me and you, we're independent contractors, so it's like we got to submit tax returns.
No, but see,
We
the
got to
thing
do
for
all
us,
that.
we're with this union that I'm in and working and filming and
Well,
film
yeah, you
television.
W-2 now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
right,
on
right,
a
right,
W-2 now, which has its benefits.
right, right.
But now that when this takes off to be number one,
Oh yeah, it's gonna happen. I know that it's gonna
it's
happen.
gonna be a different story.
Situation's gonna be
Yeah, it's
different,
gonna be a
right?
different story. So
Yeah.
it's just preparing for that too.
And I only say that because I'm pretty sure there's other things that you probably do offline that are not part of the
Yeah,
IAT union that are not W-2. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So those things, bring all those things in because they're gonna count as additional income.
Hmm.
So anybody that's looking to purchase property, don't feel like just because you are a 1099 worker, you're not gonna be able to purchase a home. We have a lot of different programs that are absolutely amazing for people to that capacity. So
And there's a lot of programs.
there are.
You don't know unless you go. You may not think you have enough money, and there's
Yeah,
a lot. I learned that
yeah,
myself
yeah,
because I was fearful, just like, oh wow, like I'm not, 10%.
yeah,
I got expensive taste,
yeah.
so I'm thinking 10% of. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of money. How am I gonna,
Yeah.
and still live and
Mhm.
whatever the case may be. But then you learn that there's all these programs, first home buy,
Yeah.
first home
Credit,
time,
yeah.
that and all kinds of
Grants,
things.
all that.
Yeah, so it's like,
And it all helps. I've sold many people. I've had clients come to me and say, "Fred, I only have $6,000 in my pocket. What can you do?" And I've got them a home because of these grants, these credits that are available. So don't feel like just because I don't have $40,000 in the bank, $50,000 in the bank, I can't make it happen. So again, it's all about relationships. It's all about
Mm-hmm.
partnerships. It's all about resources.
Yep.
All of the things that you talked
And
about on this
accepting
podcast
change,
and accepting change.
right?
Absolutely.
Well, listen, I can't wait to get to Change Church. We gotta figure that out so I could come up
Yeah,
there.
we got to.
But thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so grateful that
Yes.
you. I mean, just to even, I don't want to. I'm talking about I don't want to drive an hour and a half. He just drove an hour and a half to come and do my podcast. I'm so grateful. Thank you for
It's all
giving me
good.
your Saturday, which is a really big deal in real estate. Like
Yeah.
this is your day,
Yeah.
and I'm grateful. So thank you. Much success to you and your enterprise. I love that you say that.
Thank you. I
Yes.
appreciate you, man. Thanks again for having me. I'm appreciative. I'm privileged. I'm honored to just be on this couch. Like I see all the guests that come here, and I'm just thankful. So thank you so much for having me.
Yes, you're welcome. So click like and subscribe. Follow, do all the things, catch up on all the previous episodes, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace. That was
There we
fun,
go.
man.
Yeah, right?
Holy cow, that was really dope.
Do and in between. Check it out. YouTube. Click, like, and subscribe. 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 Thanks.